Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. Happy Wednesday, June 4th. The Dolphin Bit continues, and we are so glad to be here with you for the Rise Up Morning Show. I'm Evan, he's Alex, he's Will, a.k.a. Free Willy.
Thanks.
The blue banana.
Yep.
The blue banana.
Or the shark, or the dolphin, or just a really weird Snuggie, you know? But I'm still in TikTok jail, so until that day comes where I am freed, Free Willy, I am a dolphin.
Can we start a hashtag? Hashtag Free Willy? Hashtag
It is funny because now my girlfriend, we make funny, weird noises throughout the apartment the entire day, but now she makes dolphin noises. She goes, and she just like walks from room to room.
It's beautiful.
It's really a magical. It's a magical household.
You know, it's really a missed opportunity though, because like, I don't know, if you were willing to do just a little bit of crime and you got on a live stream with like the Free Willy movie playing in the background, just think of the meme coin potential. You know, dolphin token, blue banana token.
I have given some real thought to being like, maybe I make a meme coin and I don't tell anybody, but like it is a dolphin with an aggressive chin that I have ChatGPT make, and like people would know. I mean, like who else could it possibly be? I'd never say anything about it. And then, you know, and then just let the community find it and take it away.
You'd make a video like, who would do such a thing?
Who would do such a thing?
I'm outraged. And I bought a little.
Yeah, and I bought a little bit. Don't worry.
Moist Mike says the signs will be there. You and also, oh yes, lost money, if we don't blast off. Okay, the chat is super active. People still love the dolphin bit, and Nil says, what I can only assume in the language of your people means I absolutely love this show. If you have a crypto question, a suggestion, a good joke, some words of wisdom, or a dolphin pun, then leave it in the comments. We're so glad that you're here. This is your place for helpful news, commentary, and answers to your crypto questions. We've been doing a lot of in-depth tutorial focus on staking to help people get ready for the airdrops that are happening in the Polygon community. And today, in addition to covering some additional airdrop opportunities, we've also got our guest, David, a.k.a. Dawufi, joining the show to talk about all things zkTLS and opacity. So stay tuned for that at the top of the next hour. In the meantime, leave your questions, leave your comments. And other than the banana that is blue, you guys doing okay today?
This banana has eyes, sir. And as I showed you all before, there's a fin also. Not a banana. All right. I don't like
quiet
this.
Banana.
I am. No, seriously, I'm good. I am getting antsy though at having as many stable coins as I do. I love seeing my Bitcoin. I just want to deploy. Just give me one solid correction that actually looks like a correction on the weekly chart. Just give it to me. Just give it to me already, market. I'm sitting here waiting, trying to be patient, trying to be a good boy. Here I am.
I mean, it's hard.
Hard.
And you're the one who's saying that we're the last video of yours I saw is about the CME gap, which makes me sad because while Alex is thrilled about the prospect of purchasing Solana and other assets we know and love at a cheaper price, I am like, where does it end? Where does it end? I mean, I get it. It's cool. I'm going to buy the dip. I'll sell when it pumps, but
See,
I just get excited when we set records and stuff.
What's happened here, though, is that the people manipulating all of this have realized that the fastest way to make mega shitloads of money is to push it up and down in 30% swings, not try to figure out how to just get it to keep going up.
Yes.
So it's just going to do this for a very long time.
The infinite money glitch.
Or at least the ETF hype.
But you got to keep the dream alive by letting us set a brand new all-time high, just barely, every now and then.
So here's my thoughts. This is specifically around the Solana ETF, because that's like the next obvious crypto to end up getting an ETF, in my personal opinion. We talked yesterday. We talked about how because it offers a higher APY than Ethereum, you'll probably have more institutional investors be very interested in buying the Solana ETF than Ethereum ETF, because assuming of course staking gets turned on, which we all kind of think it is. But the other thing too is that Grayscale. So for those of you who are unaware, Grayscale has operated crypto-based funds even before the ETFs were ever available. You had the Grayscale Bitcoin Fund, you had the Grayscale Ethereum Fund, you have the Grayscale Solana Fund today, and a number of other ones. And when the Bitcoin ETF went live and when the Ethereum ETF went live, people who had purchased the Grayscale Fund that had a whole bunch of Bitcoin and a whole bunch of Ethereum started selling. They started selling like crazy because Grayscale offered Bitcoin and Ethereum at a discount, at one point a 50% discount. So if Bitcoin was $30,000, they were able to buy Bitcoin at $15,000. And so after riding ETF pumps, a huge amount of Bitcoin sold and hit the market. Like a very large, not huge, but a very large amount of Ethereum sold and hit the market. And Grayscale has something like 900,000 Solana, which isn't that much money in comparison to the amount of money that their Ethereum fund and their Bitcoin fund had. So, but still, I would expect that when the ETF goes live, or it's announced, you have a huge run-up in Solana and maybe Cardano, maybe XRP, any coin that has an ETF get announced. And then it goes live and you're going to have Grayscale people dump on you. There is likely to be a dump and then the market will take it higher again. But do be aware that the dump for Solana could be much smaller because the amount of money that is in the Grayscale fund is way less. So if you were unaware of how that has worked in the past, there you go. If you were aware of that, now you know that there's really not that much Solana in the Grayscale fund, but there is enough to potentially affect the market. So just be aware of that. When the day comes, we're like, hey, Grayscale and Fidelity have filed for a Solana ETF finally. And then the market's like, all right, here we go. And then it happens and there's a dip.
You know, the other thing that's interesting is now that we are behind like some of the SEC announcements that hindered the ETH ETF, you know, nobody was that excited about the ETH ETF except if staking would be turned on like out of the gate. And there's a real possibility that we get some of these ETF products for other crypto tokens that people could stake, that it's available to them at a much sooner date. I think that will change the picture. The ETH ETFs, they just didn't generate that much excitement in terms of inflows the same way. I mean, it'd be hard to generate the same kind of inflows the Bitcoin ETF did. But I'm curious to see what the timeline looks like and how the turn of events goes in terms of how much money flows into them and when. And how much money flows into ETFs after that infrastructure is already in place. I wonder if that's going to become a new meta. You know, if ETFs become easy to get and people start launching these proof of stake tokens in order to get retail buyers to FOMO in, I don't know. Nothing has the network effects like ETH and Bitcoin and Sol, but could be an interesting play for somebody.
Yeah, and one other thing that was really interesting was diving through the data on who was purchasing the ETF products. Because if you looked at the market across the board for all ETF products, so we're largely talking about the stock market right now, like traditional financial world, and also including the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF. Since January of this year up until now, there has been a record amount of retail buying. I think a few weeks ago, something like $125 billion of buying coming in from retail. And then institutional sellers were selling $25 billion. So you had that across all the ETFs. But if you peeled that back and you took a look at the Bitcoin ETFs, it was a pretty similar image. It was 80% of buyers of the Bitcoin ETF were classified by JP Morgan and by one of the other big boys as retail, as compared to only 20% being institutions or institutional buyer or institutional investors. So it's been retail that's been diving into the ETF products, probably people who are just familiar buying stuff through their BlackRock and Fidelity. And they're like, I want to try something new. This Coinbase company is new and I don't really trust them yet, and yada, 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 or Kraken, what have you. But it has been largely retail diving in. And I've seen the argument that like, oh, retail's not here yet. Like, I'm like, oh, like retail's apparently been here. They've been buying the ETF products like crazy. So that was another interesting point, like data point to note of like who's buying it.
Yeah, I really am hearing more and more and more in the last 2 months about how institutions in size are not here yet. We're just hearing a lot of big splashes from the early adopters. But most people that I talk to who have like a position to know about it, whose clients are family offices, hedge funds, things like that, they say these people largely don't even know how to buy this stuff yet. They're not even sure it's legal for them to have these kind of assets. So they're really not here in any kind of significant size. Very exciting times to be in crypto. We're truly early.
I did have a question on one of my videos that I would love to get Alex and Evan your take on, which was around staking. It was, is staking worth it? Very simple question that I made a video on, and I said, it kind of depends. Are you a short-term trader? Are you a long-term trader? What cryptos are you invested in? Are you interested in airdrops? And went through all 4 of those things. But I wanted to get your guys' take on it because, I mean, we're similar but also different investors, and just wanted to see what your guys' take would be on someone asking you, is staking worth it, and what other things you might say about it.
It's a really good question, and I would say yes. And honestly, it depends.
Tell me why.
Okay, if you are somebody who is compelled to be a good citizen, if you believe in decentralization, the vision of the future we're all walking towards, and want to be somebody who enables this technology to scale, then staking matters to you because it helps to secure networks you care about. So for you, staking your tokens is important. The other thing is, if you are somebody who is interested in like predictable or at least, calculatable passive returns, you're not interested in being like a trader, and you want to see a return on your crypto beyond just like holding it and hoping for more, then staking could be a good solution. I also think it could be like not for you if you're scared of token volatility, because staking your tokens means you're kind of parking them. You're not selling when the price gets higher like Alex does, and probably using that money to buy dips when the price goes lower. You're just riding that wave until your staking period is unleashed. And I also think, depending on the provider you're using, there's some risk you should be at least familiar with. Like people who are not that into Coinbase, as like a custodian, they're like self-custody or die, bro. Those people probably, they want to be careful about staking with a platform like Lido or another third party. Because, they can do stuff that might cause a penalty, that might cause them to lose your assets, to get slashed, yada, yada. So staking is for you if you don't mind holding your asset for a longer time. Staking is maybe not for you if you are uncertain about the long-term viability or value of the token, if you need liquidity, you want flexibility, or you worry about custody. I don't know, Alex, did I wring the answer dry? What else would you say? Who else is maybe the best for it, not the best for it?
I think, like you said, it just really depends what you want. Is it worth it? That's a subjective question. So couldn't say. I think that some of that concern is probably born out of the tax implications and problems that we were talking about. So, the thing that makes it harder to square for me is, like we said, the idea that as you earn staking yield, you are on the hook for income tax. Depends on your bracket, all that sort of stuff. You owe income tax the day you get it at the price that you receive it at. And then if it goes up and you sell it, you also owe capital gains tax on that. And depending on, I forget exactly, we went through yesterday, there's like 4 different times that you could theoretically be on the hook to pay a tax.
3 times is what you were saying based on the staking example we shared.
Yeah. So right. The taxable event with the swap into a liquid staking token. So that one doesn't exist if you're not liquid staking.
Sucked.
If you're just native staking, you're not getting anything in return, nothing to swap. Despite all of that, I do think that it still becomes worth it because the tax rate is not 100%. So you're still
You're still
earning
making money.
something. It's kind of like that tired argument, the age-old adage of never sell because you don't want capital gains tax. And it's like, would you rather pay capital gains tax on an amount of profit that you made, or would you rather write off a fat loss because you held too long? It's an obvious choice for me. So I think the worth it, like if you come down just to brass tacks, yeah, it's worth it. It's money. If that's what you want, you just need to be hyper aware of unstaking periods, any kinds of potential risks with the validator that you pick, and I guess the time commitment. But
yeah,
yeah.
What do you think, Will?
Yeah, I mean, echoing the same kind of things. Like I mentioned, are you looking for a short-term flip? If so, you could stake, but if you're just looking to hold it for 2-3 weeks, like it's not really, the risk to reward isn't really worth it.
No.
So that doesn't make sense. And also, if you're looking for a quick flip, like why add extra steps to sell? You're just looking to hold it for a few weeks or a few days or maybe a month. If you're looking to hold more long-term, even if it's just like 6 months, if you stake Solana on Marinade, you get 8%. So you're going to get 4% of that if you stake for 6 months. So that's 4% extra money. And if Solana doubles, you've now made 8% of your money.
Yeah, I think that's an underrated strategy. But for people who want to be a little more passive, I get why they wouldn't do it. I don't stake a ton unless I'm actively pursuing like an airdrop like this.
Yeah. And then the other thing I mentioned is like if you're a long-term investor and you've picked an asset that you believe in long-term, that can actually be long-term. Yeah, stake it, of course. Like compounding interest is magic. It's magic. So do that. But at the same time, I'll also say that if you are doing something short-term in your airdrop farming, you need to stake to qualify, then yeah, you got to go stake to qualify. But then in those instances, usually you're doing so on a new software. New software can have bugs in the code. It can have problems, right? So just put a tiny bit of money, go stake. I'd do something like $20, $50, or $10 or whatever. Go and stake it. You might be given just $10 or $20, but hey, you double your money. Congratulations. Pay your gas fees and get yourself a sandwich. Or maybe you get given several $1,000s. The risk to reward there is phenomenal. So yeah, go do that. Makes it totally worth it.
Yeah, good question. And I want to highlight this comment from Solemn that says, even dolphins drink from the Rise Up Morning Show mug. I absolutely love it. As you know, you can get your very own Rise Up Morning Show mug by heading to the riseupmorningshow.com, and there's so much good stuff there, in large part lately because the Rise Up Morning Show right now is powered by our friends at Polygon. We are so grateful to them for their support. We love the purple. And if you haven't tuned in this week, then you've missed a lot of Polygon ecosystem goodness. We've done a tutorial on how to stake your Pol tokens. We have shared the details about a variety of confirmed airdrops that are coming up for people who are staking their tokens. This is one of the benefits of staking in this case. If you're someone who wouldn't usually stake, you might decide to do it because airdrops, if you don't have a ton of money, but you got a lot of time and a little gumption, can be a great way to earn free crypto that could potentially be worth a lot of cash. So Alex, you called yesterday and said, I just found out about 4 more confirmed airdrops by the community. And I was like, well, yeah, of course, we got to talk about it on the show. So you want to tell us what the airdrops are and then show us again, as a refresher, the things we need to think about to be eligible?
Mm-hmm. So we'll do some screen shares. So here when Purple Dolphin. Yeah, right.
It's funny. I was thinking that as Evan was like, we're powered by Polygon. I was like,
dude, such a missed opportunity. Oh,
Purple
man.
Dolphin.
Okay, so yeah, there's a couple more targets that are being eyed up for some airdrop potential here. So one, we're not going to go too deep into because we talked about it a lot. That's Anchor. So staking on Anchor, leading you to airdrop potential specifically. So unless I'm reading into this incorrectly, we're talking about like double dips here. Like if there's stuff going to general Polygon stakers and then also specific to the platform that you're staking on, could be something.
So slow that down. You're saying if I am staking my Pol tokens on any platform, I could be eligible for airdrops from somebody like Katana or whatever. But if there's a specific platform like Anchor, which is offering an airdrop, choosing to stake my Pol tokens on Anchor could make me eligible for bonus rewards, or choosing to stake them
That's
on
the idea.
Anchor and somewhere else, spinning
That's
up
the
another
idea.
wallet.
But just be careful about saying any platform, because like we said, earning interest on a centralized exchange like Coinbase on Polygon does not count. That's not staking.
No, earning interest and staking are different. We talked about the difference between providing liquidity, staking, lending. Staking will be labeled as staking, any website you go to.
Yep. So if you guys will recall, and again, we can go into this in the Discord again if you missed it, but staking on Anchor, right here, will take you to a spot, connect your wallet, do the thing, see the dashboard. So that's one. Oops. Share this tab instead. This is then what it looks like if you open up the app. Obviously, there's nothing to see if I don't have a wallet connected. And we're looking at 2 others for sure, and then I'm waiting on some clarification on the last one, just because I'm not quite seeing the right thing, I think. But we'll come back to that. So next would be Stater. So
Stater.com?
Yep, staterlabs.com. Give a quick pause for Evan to whip up a banner.
Damn. If you can't see the visual and you're hearing my voice perhaps in the future, first, hello, we hope your candles are green. And second, check out the screen recorded version of this podcast on YouTube. Just search The Rise Up Morning Show. Go ahead, Al.
So staterlabs.com, you can stake Polygon here, and then you can use Matic X while earning those rewards. So this is another example of a liquid stake, wherein
just like Anchor,
where you'll be getting something back in return, and you could do something with it. Now, we had the question the other day about, okay, what do you do with those things? As of yet, I don't really participate in the extraness of using my liquid staking tokens to do more stuff. I would kind of like to mess around with it a little bit. So I'm thinking that this is the perfect opportunity for me to just like see what happens. I'm not gonna lie, it skeezes me out just a little bit. Not because it's like a sketchy thing, but just because like I don't think that I'm talented enough to like confidently do this and not just screw myself over. So thus far, I just hold liquid staking tokens and do the thing, swap them back in.
Sell this thing.
Exactly. Precisely.
It's my favorite sound. It makes me laugh every single time.
Precisely. So Stater, another one to watch, and then the last one to take a quick peek into is Trufin, another name that we haven't talked about in a hot minute, but is probably familiar to you if you've been floating around the space for a smidge. So again, same kind of thing. The website is trufin.io, trufin.io.
Oh, hang on.
Oh no, the banner.
Damn
Nobody
Evan.
saw it.
No one saw it. Look at it. First time I'm showing it to you.
Recover.
And here, if you hit launch app, it'll pop up with the things you can do. So Solana, Near, Aptos, Injective, Polygon. So some options. That Solana APY got nothing on Marinade, though, we'll say. Not even half.
What's it at? Oh, it's only 4.3. Damn.
Yeah.
Ain't no marinade.
The hell is this?
Kind of baby interest.
I need at least 8+%.
Yeah, but look at that near number.
But Near, Injective, and Aptos, all decent.
And like that's a decent number on the Matic too. The Poly.
Yeah, it's higher than Anchor. I think 3.74%.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
I'm getting on Anchor as of right now. So there's that. Anyway, these are the ones that we're kind of tracking. There was a whisper about Lido, but I'm waiting for some clarification on exactly what the Lido Polygon situation is, because Lido Polygon staking is in the process of being sunset right now. So I assume it's migrating to something else, and maybe that's what it is. But as of right now, like if you're staking Polygon with Lido, they're asking you to unstake, which I would assume is pre-migration of some sort. It's probably got something to do with the Polymatic migration, I would guess. Again, that's a speculation. So we'll see what happens. But I've got some questions out to informed people asking for clarification there. So there we go. Stater Labs, Trufin, Trufin.io, Anchor, and then maybe Lido.
Dang. I am not encouraging anybody to become like a total Sybil farmer, but I do want to remind you that wallets are like totally free to spin up, and solely for the purposes of education. Like, it is worth it. You owe it to yourself to do some homework. Neil was saying on the show the other day that pursuing opportunities like this, that's how you learn to use this technology. So, like, it probably will cost you more money to stake, unstake, move your money, stake it somewhere else, unstake, send it, stake it somewhere else. Probably the best thing to do if you want to try these platforms, and frankly, I think you should, is to, if you've got, I don't know, $100, you take 25, send it to this wallet, 25, send it to this wallet, 25, send it to this wallet, or keep it all in the same wallet. Make it your Polygon staking wallet. Send it that $100, and then take it to Trufin. Drop off $25 in Paul. Take it to Anchor. Drop off $25 in Paul. Take it to Statter Labs, and so on and so forth. You see what I'm doing? Staking.polygon.technology. Take it over there. Drop $25 in Paul. And that way, you're getting the experience of using all these different platforms, and you'll have a better basis for comparison. You'll be able to help somebody else. How cool are you going to feel when your friend is like, how do I stake my Paul on Anchor.com? And you're like, well, actually, it's very simple. Let me show you. Like, you're going to feel like such a boss, and you will raise your little dolphin beak to the sky, and you will go, and somewhere Will's heart will smile with you.
I will absolutely feel it in the dolphin void.
Yeah.
And also by spinning up multiple wallets, even though, like, it's probably not the greatest thing to do, but like, hey, you'll qualify 2 or 3 or 4 times for the airdrop. So, hey.
Yeah, and I think there's a big difference. Like, I think the Polygon gods would smile on that more than they would on. You remember I was telling you about that OKX guy I met at East Denver, and he was saying we have a feature where you can spin up 500 wallets in a single click.
I saw that. Yeah.
I don't think they're probably as happy about somebody who's like,
No.
I don't know, a mega whale trying to just like farm all of these tokens. That does happen. You can do it. It is a viable strategy, but it's a lot more likely to get you flagged, banned, shamed publicly.
No bueno. But yeah, if you're taking time to learn about crypto and Web3, you know, I'm sure Nil and Polygon people will be pretty pumped.
Got a couple of good questions in the comments, as well as a few good thoughts. Can we have all the staking sites here? They will be in the description for this episode where it lives on podcast platforms, on YouTube, and we'll throw it up in the Discord community. Alex, I'm sure we can do just a quick note. But to review again, we've got Anchor, ANKR.com. We've got staking.polygon.technology. We've got Statter Labs. And we've got Trufin.io with possibly Lido coming soon. So stay tuned for that. And if you need this again, you don't want to watch the whole episode, I just popped up a tutorial yesterday for how to stake your Polygon tokens on Anchor. It's like 5 minutes, step by step with screen shares. It's the most recent video in my profile. Here's a good question too. What are some good Polygon wallets? What are you guys using to hold your Paul tokens? Or I should say, to store the private key you use to access the Polygon ledger?
I've been just using MetaMask. You know, I've had MetaMask for forever. And when I use anything Ethereum that isn't on base, I just naturally go to MetaMask. So that's what I do, just to have it built up. It's not the greatest wallet insofar as UI, like user experience. It's pretty dated. MetaMask, guys, come on. Just an update, something. Like, you guys are really behind the ball there.
You know one that I want to try that I hear has killer user experience is Rabby. It's been on my phone for a minute
all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it like driven through, and I'm like, oh man, that looks cool. That looks easy. And the other one I have used lightly a couple years ago that I've been encouraged to revisit by friends like Tori is Rainbow Wallet. I hear they're also like at the front of the UX game, especially like with an eye for people who've never used a wallet before.
Yes, I would agree. Those two wallets are definitely going to be better for a new person than MetaMask at this current point in time.
Yeah. Alex, what about you? What are you using?
Phantom.
Yeah. I feel like Phantom is like the crypto natives multi-chain wallet of choice. Most that I hear in conversation.
I tried to use Phantom for Anchor, but I didn't see a connection option, so I just went to MetaMask.
Yeah, so it's something is going on with it. So this was literally just, I don't know, maybe a month ago, 2 months ago. It was just straight up an option. Anchor dashboard, pick Phantom, go forth and prosper. Nothing hinky about it. And then it just disappeared from the connection options. And now the only way to get to it, which I found yesterday, is to navigate through the Phantom app, search for Anchor on the browser, and then connect that way. And you can access the Anchor protocol through Phantom via the in-app browser, but nothing else. The wallet extension doesn't work, and on mobile through Anchor, not in the Phantom browser, also doesn't work. So again, waiting for some sort of an answer from Anchor about that, but not sure if it's temporary.
Neil asks, does it work via Wallet Connect?
Works.
Have you tried Wallet Connect?
I have tried Wallet Connect. It does not work via Wallet Connect. Unfortunately, Phantom does not like the QR code.
Very interesting.
Because Phantom's great, although like I haven't spent a lot of time with. I have a Rainbow wallet. I forget. I had to get it something a long time ago, and even then it was an easy UI. I've never tried Rabby though.
Yeah,
that one's on my short list to try as well.
It's on the list, and that was something we were talking about yesterday too, is how cool will it be? We're really hunting particular types of sponsor partners. Like we would love to have an official round of wallet partners to be software wallets, hardware wallets, cold storage wallets, and then bring them to the show so that you can learn from all of them directly, like the benefits and drawbacks of different types of wallet systems. I think it'll be so cool.
Yeah.
I have a brief commercial to do, which is in response to this question that says, do you guys offer one-for-one coaching? Do you have other resources beyond the show that can help us learn? And the answer, my friend, is yes. So the TLDR is, if you head to the link in any of our bios or visit theriseupmorningshow.com, you are going to find a wealth of helpful, all kinds of information, starting with free PDF guides that you can download, links to our socials, and also the link to join the Rise Up Discord server. That's the place you should start. It is a global community with learners at all levels of experience. Totally free to join. The only thing missing is you. It's a perfect place to get a second opinion, meet your new crypto best friend, share what you know, learn, grow. We say rise up together. If you want deeper access to us, first priority responses, discounts on things like recorded classes, live classes, coaching, then you should check out the premium memberships. We built these for people who want to accelerate their learning journey with us. Not only do you get in a room with the most engaged and active members of our community who are working to learn, but you get a lot more ways to hang out with us and learn directly. You can find the link for coaching there. You can find the link for all of our class recordings at theriseupmorningshow.com, and you really will accelerate your journey that way, but you don't have to spend a dime to learn with us. So check it all out. If you have problems getting in the Discord, finding something, send us a message, but we'd be glad to help you. And we're so glad you're here, especially to the people who are watching on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on X. I see you, and we really appreciate you so much. Dawufi is in the chat. He says he will be in just a bit. I cannot wait. And I do want to highlight this comment from Jay Heath that says, the mods there are fantastic. Big time shout out, not just to the moderators in this chat, but the moderators in Discord and all of the friends and OGs that have contributed a lot of valuable perspective and time to make our community great. The best part of everything we do is you. So, what do you guys think about this this pump.fun token launch? I don't know how much time we're going to have to get into this before David joins us. Maybe he'll give a take on it too, but what do you think?
Anything that's pump.fun, I honestly don't really pay attention to. So I know they're trying to raise $1 billion for some reason. That's what I saw. Is that right, Alex?
Yes.
You would have paid attention to this.
Yes.
Why are they trying to raise? For what purpose? Does pump.fun need to raise $1 billion?
Because
and also, I love that you said, Alex, you would have paid attention to this like he's just chomping at the bit to get news about pump.fun.
Look at how quickly he pulled up that tweet.
Notifications on.
See, the thing is, though, that like them or not, they made so much money like $627 million in revenue since they
I
started.
think it was closer to 700.
It's a shitload.
Like 730 was the figure I saw.
Jesus. So, you know,
In about a year.
Why they need to raise $1 billion, I couldn't tell you.
Wait, have you seen the movie Spaceballs?
Have I seen Spaceball? Yes.
I know you have, yes, but I'm just setting the table of conversation for
I
everybody.
might be able to recite. Yes, that's true. Merchandising.
Merchandising.
Actually, Will, it's funny you mention it because Spaceballs it is for sure the movie that I am the closest to being able to recite start to finish.
Oh, dude, I've seen that movie easily 50,
oh, yeah.
70
I have watched it 100 times.
Yeah, it's so good.
I have
so
watched
good.
it, but man, I couldn't do the bits.
I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
And
She
she
was
it was
I
with
found
my
it in a Cracker Jack
father's
box.
cousin's college roommate twice removed. What does that make us?
Okay. Save me from myself.
My brother.
Code an idiot
Oh
would have
my
on
gosh.
his luggage.
Yeah, he's watched Spaceballs a lot.
Was
too.
he summoned by Spaceballs lines?
Where's his banana?
Was summoned by Spaceballs a lot. There's nothing that gets our household more excited except
Oh,
for
God.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
So
Anyway,
Neil asked the question: Is pump.fun good for the space? And I have seen the question on socials. This is why I brought it up. Like, is this a reflection of stuff that is good for Solana or bad for Solana? Because the conversation is people say, often in the same breath, pump.fun is the worst thing about Solana, and Solana would die without meme tokens and hyper meme evaluation or whatever. And I have my own take, but I'm just curious what you guys think. You know, money aside,
I think it's a super stupid take, or you are purposely trying to get clickbait, or you know nothing.
Yeah, nailed it. It's one of those three.
One of those three. It's one of those
Tell
three.
me why.
Because Solana's generating so much revenue, and so much adoption. And like the DeFi environment is exploding. And like, I mean, everything on it that is like purposeful that you want to see being built in the blockchain space is being built on Solana at a very incredible pace. It's just, yeah, that's it. I don't know. Anything else?
Yeah, they nailed the brand.
Yeah.
That's it. They have a brand. People want to participate with the brand. You want to talk about how to get users? Build an identity, give people something to connect with. That's what they want. It's very easy to say it's only meme coins, and that it might just be your timeline. And there certainly is a lot of that. You know why the meme coin culture exists on Solana more heavily than it does anywhere else? Because that's where all the fucking users are, and that's where all the people are. So of course that's where the casino popped up. The casino doesn't exist on chains with no users because there's no one to gamble. Mm-hmm. So it's just one of those things. It's a blockchain that works, that has stuff to do, there's money there, and there's people that use it. That's it. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like the brand. You can like something else, but that's just a simple fact. And in the words of Chris Do, people will pick the better brand over the better product every day of the week. So if you're not building the brand identity and you're not connecting with people and you're not doing all that kind of crap, then you are just shooting yourself in the foot repeatedly.
Damn, dropping Chris Do's name in a pump.fun conversation. Wow. You really elevated this dialogue.
Chris Do would appreciate that reference.
And
Who is Chris Do?
Oh
Chris
my
Do,
God.
just look him up. His name is spelled D-O Do. He's a great teacher who talks about business, creativity, entrepreneurship. He's
Okay. Yeah, I
Alex
honestly
and
don't know who he is, but I also asked it because I was like, Alex is.
You may have seen him on social media. He has these videos where he teaches creatives how to ask their clients for more money and then do work that justifies it. He's fantastic at it. I would love to give my take in a second, but I do see that our friend Dawufi is backstage, so I want to quickly say to him, hey, brother, we'll bring you up in just a second. If you want to join the TikTok live stream, let me know. You can hit the little request from your phone on a second button. We can bring you up there, or we can just write your audio. But really quickly, to give my take while he does that or not, is I think it is ridiculous in a world where you're making $700 million a year, or at least this year. Who knows what will happen next year? So it makes sense to do it right now.
Yeah.
$1 billion of a token sale at a $4 billion valuation is not the most unreal. I mean, like that's pretty reasonable. $700 million. You're worth $4 billion. Okay, I could do that if that's the dollars you brought in, and your brand is so much more than just dollars. I can dig that.
Just knowing what pump.fun is, it just screams of grabbing money for the purpose of grabbing money, which is fine if you weren't also a platform that grabs money for the purpose of grabbing money from regular, everyday people trying to make a buck.
Okay, I get that, but also the network has benefited tremendously in terms of like financial incentives from it. There's like $300 million of Solana tokens locked in pump.fun contracts, many of which are dead forever, like that have bonded to Radium or not.
That's great for Solana. However, I just look at this and I go, okay, I can try to find the silver lining in this pile of shit, but and I will, because I'm an optimistic guy. But like, this is just becoming an ever larger pile of shit.
So
okay,
that's my personal take on it. And you know what? I look at it that way. If someone wants to look at pump.fun as an amazing, great thing, because hey, it has great product market fit. I mean, look at it. It's doing great. It is a product that people want, but so too are hardcore drugs, and I don't think they're good for society. So
that's what you're gonna say.
I was just gonna say that I'm not like the world's biggest fan of pump.fun. You would recognize, of course, how much money they made. My beef with them is all centered around the live streaming feature that they got immediate and swift proof was a terrible fucking idea. Took it down, put it right back up again, and the exact same shit happened immediately. They learned nothing. So that to me just screams money grab. Like the fact that this was clearly a terrible idea. It clearly led to terrible things. And we just did it again because it probably increased revenue. I don't know why. I assume it's money. So in that sense, I don't respect it. But I mean, hey, I don't know, man. It's if there's one thing that's like in their favor, it's the fact they're probably the most profitable protocol in the entire industry.
They probably are.
Tether heard a disturbance in the forest when you said that.
I don't think Tether can hold a candle to how much money they made in that amount of time. I would be very curious to see that number.
I'm pretty sure not only can they hold a candle, but that they've got a flamethrower coming like to justify that claim.
I don't know. Can we look that up?
While you look that up and give us a little bit of a fact check yourself, brother. Allow me to take a second to welcome. Oh, what?
That didn't take me long.
Intro?
No, you're.
Is that right?
You're right.
Big time right.
By a lot. Yeah, big time. Massive big time right.
I thought so.
Massive.
What's the figure, just for fun? Like,
I'm embarrassed to say.
Come on, let people know.
Evan, it's so egregious.
It's
I mean, it's billions and billions of dollars, right?
Yeah, it's 13 billion a year.
I thought so. Somewhere William Quigley is going.
Not ideal.
Dawufi is laughing at me backstage right now because of how fucking brain dead I just was.
Which seems like a good time to bring on our friend to let him speak for himself. Ladies and gentlemen, you may know him as David, but probably not, because we all know him and love him as Dawufi. He is bringing the vibes, he's bringing the knowledge, and we are so pleased to welcome him to the Rise Up Morning Show. Brother, thank you for joining us. How you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. I'm triangulating. I don't know how you guys do it. I'm like trying to post on Farcaster and X the TikTok links while also joining multiple live streams. Hats off. You guys get a clap for even being able to technically do all this. I can do wallets. I can do cross-chain transfers. This is all new to me. So well played.
I appreciate it. If you need a minute, let us know. We can, help you share and share alike and that kind of thing. But would love to hear your take on all this pump.fun drama. You want me to give you a second and come back to you? Or you want to take it?
I think I'm in. I don't know. I feel like this has been going on for a while. I was laughing at the billions thing. I'll talk a little bit about my professional work and stuff, but we have been sort of getting into the Solana ecosystem, and I'm based in Chicago, where Solana is actually quite big. It's interesting to see how these different fractional things happen. It's large because of the Jump Trading organization, and I don't know, man. Like, I go back and forth on this stuff because I don't think it's useful. I think a lot of it's extractory, and I also am sort of like a believer in freedom, that in the very long term, if we're going to get to a place where people really do appreciate a lot of the DeFi rails and what it means to like own your own keys, or, you know, be able to exit a system that is, you know, perhaps unfair, unjust, or at the very least just not helpful to certain segments of the population, then it's not a straight line up. The quickest way to learn a lesson about losing money is to lose a bunch of money. And I don't wish that upon people. But I look back at my own journey, and it's like, if everything had just gone up, I wouldn't be the same person I am today. And I'm not saying that's bad or good, but it is sort of my own reflection on like the universe and the way these things play out, and hopefully things happen for a reason. So I don't know if that's, I know I said I was going to come on here cranky.
I was gonna say, that's a pretty mature take for somebody who's cranky. You had your Metamucil this morning.
Yeah, I had my Metamucil. My movements have been good, so we're all fine. But
bullish.
Like, so what are your thoughts on pump.fun?
Yeah,
I just really hope that everything happens for a reason. I think that connection's perfect.
Justifying the title for people who can't see it on the screen here, Vibe Architect. So, brother, do you want to tell people, now that we've gotten a take from you, who you are, what you do? Help them get to know you.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm trying to hop back in on the TikTok. We'll see if it works or not. But
don't fret about it.
Who am I? What do I do? I am Dawufi. I'm David. If you know me, there's a good chance you know me from Farcaster. That's the first place I sort of accidentally ran into a little bit of notoriety. But I work at a place called opacitynetwork. And I'll talk a little bit more about the company, but effectively my job is, I describe as sort of everything go-to-market. I deal with status games, I deal with business development, marketing, growth, social community, sort of aligning all those things together and making sure that a company, you know, usually in the crypto space these days, is reaching the audience that they want to with the message they want to, is everything that I do. So that's, I think, how I got to know you guys eventually. I'm a big believer that you know, crypto Twitter and other sort of echo chambers are not ultimately as accretive to the space as they should be. Nothing wrong with some internal discussion, but I really appreciate what you guys do. Trying to teach more people new things, and I do a lot of the same thing, but just for one particular company as opposed to the space at large.
Sure. And when you say one particular company, you mean Opacity right now, right? So just for people who don't know, I want to read them in a little and then give you a chance to talk about what you do, because here's a good impression for you to have of Dawufi. When you search for Opacity at opacitynetwork on X, this is the headline you get. Opacity's Verified Data Network, VDN, leverages zkTLS, MPC, to allow users to privately share data across Web 2 and Web 3. And if you are a living, breathing human, you probably heard that and you said, what?
What?
I don't know how to sell this thing!
And this is why we love Dawufi, because somebody else had that same reaction. They said, okay, what the heck is zkTLS? I just can't come up with a situation where I might actually need to use this technology. And this brother comes in with an absolute banger of a tweet with a ton of receipts talking about how, oh, well, you would use it if you wanted to prove revenue to get a loan and break free of Ticketmaster, like the folks at KYD Labs, or prove off-chain activity to earn rewards from brands who want to connect with you, like Earn OS Intern. And oh, you might want to use it if you want to prove your influencer activity for marketing, like DaisyPay does, all while maintaining your privacy. ZK, we've talked about it before, is a powerful way to preserve the freedom of your privacy and also verify important information about you. So I just got to say, dude, big time dings, points across the board. Thank you for making the complex clear. This is sort of my introduction to Opacity, was through you. So I want to give you a chance to say it again, maybe in your own words that are not just thrown at you, but like, why does this matter? What you're doing, and why are you so passionate about it?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm gassed for this today. I've known the founder for a couple of years through Farcaster. And when he sort of told me about what he was getting up to, I got really excited for a few reasons. I think the first one is, and I give this example a lot, it's like people know their data is worth a lot. it's like sort of fairly obvious, but you don't know what to do with it, right? Which is exactly what that tweet thread is. Because if you go look at the NASDAQ, I know you guys talk about markets a decent amount, you just sort of look at the top companies, you know, every single one of them is making, forget billions, right? We're getting into the trillions area here. And the vast majority of that is based off your data. Maybe not yours specifically, but someone somewhere is making money off your data, whether that's through ads, or whether that's through targeting, or whatever it may be. We have this huge economy all based around data. And I think emotionally, we kind of feel like we own it, and we have no idea what to do with it because it's all been locked up in these walled gardens, right? So to be able to verify and share it is really important. And our founder has this thesis that he calls like the poverty of verifiability. And this is why blockchains haven't done too much useful stuff outside of DeFi, stablecoins, and what he calls fast founder liquidity. I call dumping on retail. Definitely has PMF for dumping on retail. We can talk more about that, and that's where I'll get cranky. But if you look through those ideas, they're all sort of one-to-one, like, okay, I know something to be true. I'd like to prove it to someone else to be true. And that's a really, really difficult thing to do today. I think one of the more like salient examples that I give as well is like, you know, most people have either applied for a home loan or have applied to lease an apartment or lease a car or something. And the amount of information you have to hand over is somewhat egregious, right? Like you need to tell them your name, your social security number, your bank account information, your job. It's like, what if I just showed you that I made enough money and I didn't tell you anything else? Because what does the landlord really need to know about me except I get paid a good amount of money. I've been working there for 5 years. I'm good for this apartment, right? Do you really need to know my social security number? Do you really need to know my name even? Like, do you care? Like, does your landlord often call you by name to see how you've been doing, right? Do they need to know your social media accounts, to know your political affiliations? These things don't really matter. So I think when we talk about privacy, a lot of people get caught up in the idea of like, oh, it's, you know, it's just like homesteaders who like don't want the government to spy on them. But the truth of the matter is, like, every time you get one of those hack notifications, or every time you get like a stupid ad on TV that's like totally irrelevant to you, or every time someone you don't like comes up to you and knows something about you from the internet, it's like, relax, guys, that's me. Like, I don't need to be that public for stuff. That's the emotional connection where people are like, oh, it would actually be nice if the people that needed to know things about me knew them extremely well, and the people that don't. And that's sort of roughly the idea that I sort of personally attach to, at least. Obviously, we can talk about business use cases that unlocks, but that's my emotional connection to the company and the work that we're working on.
Man, so in a quick summary, just like what opacity is and does is like highly classified private data protection and storage for users and companies, correct?
Yeah, I will get nitpicky with you because I'm at Tech Week and I've had to explain this to a lot of people. When you integrate with us, as to any developers or founders out there, we feel like a Plaid, right? Because you plug into us and you log in, and the user can log in and verify. With Plaid, it's just bank account information. With us, it's anything from the internet, right? But the big difference is because we're a crypto company and we're a distributed system, we're just the piping. So we're actually more like a Visa in the way that we don't store any of your information. Opacity never sees any of your information. All we're doing is the verification so that you can share your own data with someone else. We cannot get hacked because we don't have your information. I think that's a really key difference when you start to think about some of these use cases, especially in places like healthcare and finance, where you would never want one place to have all your genetic information tied to your political beliefs or your social posts, right? It's a really, really bad idea, actually. And there's a reason people haven't done that. Both for like legal implications as well as just like general risk. So, well, you're not wrong in terms of the way it'll feel as a founder or developer working with us. You get access to all this data from your users, but we don't look at it. We can't see it, and we never will. It's sort of part of our core ethos.
Can you simply explain, because this is a real problem we see a lot with crypto companies trying to solve for like verifying something physical or something off-chain in an on-chain context? Like, what is the actual process if you don't have the information personally in order to attest to it? Like, what does it look like? And maybe for people who don't understand ZK too.
Yeah, so I'll give like the least technical definition I can, and as we dig into it, it tends to get more technical. It's easier to start at the least technical, and if we have technical questions, we can dig in. But effectively, most people have been on the internet somewhere at this point, and definitely everyone on the stream has been on the internet at some point at this point, right?
You know,
Once or twice.
where
Yeah.
they're deeply in denial and need more help than we're qualified to give. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone's probably seen the HTTPS at the beginning. And for the older people in the audience, you'll remember it used to just HTTP. And a lot of people also have seen some sort of warning from your Chrome or your Firefox browser, something that says your connection is not secure. And that's all based on the security that Mark Andreessen put into Netscape back in the days. And that's the S in that HTTPS browser. And it's fancy encryption and it's all these other things. But basically what it means is when I log onto a website like chase.com or Amazon, I really know it's that website and that website knows it's me. That's what that encryption enables. So that really was put in initially so people could buy shit. So you could put in your credit card number and you knew it wasn't going to, you know, when you logged on to Chase, it wasn't Evan behind a computer just collecting credit card numbers from everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry to pick on you, Evan, but you're just at the top left of my screen.
We all know he's shady.
Yeah, we all know he's shady, says the man in the dolphin costume.
Fishy. I'm fishy.
Blue banana.
Fishy. Oh, fishy. Nice.
Yeah, not shady. He's fishy.
Give him a ding for the fishy. There we go. So that's great. But the way that encryption works is you can't share it with anyone else. And I can go into the details about that, but it works one-to-one. It doesn't work one-to-many. So what we do is we add sort of a notary process that's, you know, very deeply technically complicated, but it effectively lets a third party like Opacity not witness the actual data, but witness sort of the exchange, that when you can run this proof verification of the data, we don't know what it is, we never saw it. But when I want to say, hey, there's $10,000 in my bank account, well, I'm not fishy. I can share with him also. And Opacity witnessed that I got this proof from chase.com. So, you know, as far as chase.com's backend is concerned, I definitely have more than 10,000 in there. You don't know if it's 10,001. It could be 13 billion. But you do know that it's true. And then that's good enough to get your car loan. You know that I really did post that TikTok video and it got 15 million views. So you can give me my social reward. You know that I did sign up for Lyft, so I get my free credits, whatever it may be.
Okay. I think I'm starting to understand then how that's possible. But the question then becomes, where does the data live? Does it just live on like my computer or in my bank account? Am I just having like an internet connection that kind of attests and verifies, or is this like, because what I'm wondering is, someone in our audience asked, like, what about storing this information or storing this proof? There's not enough data, you know, in the world capacity to prove all the things we might want to attest to and verify, is like, I think where they're going with this.
Yeah. So the proof is generated locally on your device, usually a mobile phone or something like that, right? So that's how we don't see it. Where the piping, there's what they call MPC cryptography that allows one of our notary nodes to witness it without ever actually being able to see the true text. It sees like an encrypted version of the text, and that's what it's technically verifying. And then what you do with that data and that verification is entirely up to you. Now, for a lot of this data, like let's take the TikTok influencer, for example, that's public. You don't really care if anyone's storing that. Anyone could go look at the video anyways and know. It's just really a time saver more than anything else. So you don't have to manually go through 10,000 influencers and say, did they really post it? Did they really post it? Is it really that person? I've got some fakers in my DMs from you guys. I know it's really you, right? Like that's what the verification is. And when you send that data off to our partners, they receive the data. And that's exactly what you're trying to do. So you should be still careful about who you share what with. But because you can sort of redact information, because you don't have to share, you know, your entire bank account history or your credit score, it like sort of vastly limits the amount of vulnerabilities like you might have personally in the world. So there's no data stored on your device. There's no data stored in our backend server. We don't have backend servers that would even be capable of doing it. But yeah, once you share your data, if you chose to share your social security number with someone, we can't stop you, right?
Sure,
like we can't,
sure.
we're not that level of prescriptive. But for more private information, or if someone wants to mint an NFT on chain, yeah, that'll be public. And that's, you know, the way we see it, the user's choice as to how much they want to share is the important part, not that no one won't know anything. No one won't know anything. You know what I'm trying to say?
Sure.
In the entire world.
I'm curious how you guys will make money, because like right now, a big business model in Web 2 is we hold the data. Don't worry about it. And you can buy it. You can look at what I got in here if you just pay me $1 kind of thing. And you're saying, you know, it's not in here for anyone to look at. So what's like the business model?
Yeah, so today, like I said, we feel more like a plaid, and that's really straightforward. If you're a founder or you're a developer and you say, wow, I have all these users, I would like access to their data, I have some carrot to dangle. For EarnOS, often that's, you know, a monetary carrot. For, you know, Daisy, the TikTok influencer, again, it's like get paid for your social activity. Then, you know, they're going to be willing to pay us directly to access that data. For other folks, it's something else. They're looking for user acquisition for a video game, and they want to know, you know, if you played their competitor's game or something like that. They'll give you a free game or whatever it may be. I think there's other interesting things out there that we haven't really seen come to fruition yet, but they were in some of the tweets there that I've been discussing. The idea that you can maybe layer on social data to like an Airbnb, so you know what your friends think of a location before you have to go there, or restaurant Yelp reviews. I think that's, you know, really powerful stuff. More on the composability side, which we can talk more about. But all these founders, all these developers, today they're just going to pay us a fee. In the longer term, there's networks here. We haven't talked about EigenLayer, which we are, you know, an EigenLayer network where there's going to be rewards that we pass on to the network for running these verifications. So it's definitely still early days, but everyone should theoretically be able to participate, and even owning, you know, a hypothetical token could benefit the network for economic security in the future. We don't have a token now. We don't use crypto wallets. It's all just, it feels like a very regular Web2 product today, but we are continuing to head in that direction. So there's going to be more interesting ways to participate in the network beyond just being a founder in the future.
Alex, I thought for sure there was a question behind your eyes.
Sorry.
I do want to remind our audience that we are hanging out with Dawufi, and you are listening to the Rise Up Morning Show. If you have got a question for him, because, you know, this is a heady topic, but we want to make it human for you, let us know. Leave it in the comments. We got a little bit of time left. And I'd like to know, since you've alluded to some of them, you tagged some of them in your previous posts, what are some of the ways that companies are building around this to bring it to fruition right now? What are you most excited to see?
For sure. We got a couple, we got more announcements always sort of coming. I've given some of the posts, but I try to give like some of the most salient ones that people understand, right? So the Daisy app is a really good one, because, and this tends to be the pattern, right? Where there's a founder who really deeply understands a problem, and they know why there's this friction, right? And it's usually because the data can't be shared freely and easily. And that's what these guys did. They'd been in the influencer marketing game for an extended period of time. They knew that Gen Z influencers had these Telegram groups with, you know, thousands in there, and they say, hey, I've got this brand deal. I get paid out per 10,000 views. If you guys come pump it, I'll like give you some of the money. But it's all manual verification. You don't really know who did it. You have to go back and do all these things. So as opposed to just doing like a one-on-one brand deal with Daisy, you have these network effects of all these influencers posting comments and boosting your content. So what does that actually mean at the end of the day? It means that even if you have 1 million followers, it might be nice to just like post a comment and earn 20 or 50 bucks if it's something that you really like, without having to go, you know, spend 6 months. Yeah, you guys know how long it takes to like sign a sponsor and get all these things done. And it's not that those things are bad. This is just another way to make money for influencers. But because you get the network effect, it's really, really powerful. So when brands see a 10 to 50 lower X cost per click, which is what they're putting up for some crypto brands right now, they spend more money, not less, right? And then the influencers ended up making more money because the brands are spending more money with them, because they can connect with them directly and easily without having to go, you know, big hoops of like, you know, going through YouTube's ad platform or something like that. So that one's really cool. We have another one called Earnify. And I really love this one. It's a young kid who saw our founder speaking on stage, and some of you are definitely familiar with the earned wage access or payday loan market. It's extremely predatory, right? It's this idea that someone who's making 20 bucks an hour might need 30 bucks for groceries that week, or they want to buy their mom a Christmas card, and it's like, it's not in the budget because the car broke down. You need to do something, right? So you're good for 20 or 50 bucks, but you're extremely high credit risk in like traditional models. So there's a few different ways to do that in the old system, but effectively all you need to know is it's rife with fraud. It's extremely expensive to build these companies. So you get these like 600% APY loans, which put people into debt circles. It's like you got to pay 40 bucks to get 20 bucks, and they just don't have any other options. So what Earnify does is it underwrites you at the time of the loan. It checks, are you still employed? how many hours have you worked, what's your hourly pay rate, and they brought the loan cost down from 600% down to zero, and they just make money sort of on the interchange fees and Visa and wire fees instead. So what does that mean effectively? It means that someone who like really needs their paycheck a week early can now get access to it through EarnerFi without having to like sort of put themselves in these debt spirals. So this is like examples of stuff that's really helping out people who really need this sort of decentralized tech without having to become the new bad guy effectively. There's a ton more use cases. Obviously, I could wax poetic about this for days, but I'll pause there.
No,
Well,
it's,
and two,
it's
just given
fantastic.
the recent interest in the idea of streaming payments, which got trendy on social media because of the whole ZBEC thing, but has been an idea because smart contracts exist for many, many years. I mean, even just incorporating something like that would put someone like that in a position where they wouldn't have to borrow any money because they would have been getting paid more often than once every 2 weeks, despite the fact that you're working every day. So it makes a lot more sense to be able to just get paid every day, every 6 hours. Whatever. You could build it however you wanted, and then mix all these things together, and all of a sudden it's just more and more and more drilling into the idea that what's the JG Wentworth commercial? It's my money and I want it now.
Yeah.
Just that's how it should be.
Yeah,
And-
absolutely. Go ahead.
And then, Dawufi, like, what does somebody need in order to kind of like use Opacity? Do they need a wallet? They need any other kind of information, infrastructure tool or whatever in order to use the service?
You just need an account login. So the way that encryption, the HTTPS encryption I was talking about works, we piggyback off that. So whether you're a developer or founder, or whether you're a user and you're trying to, we have a cool new company that's doing like an AI chatbot assistant for like LinkedIn power users. For that flow, all you're going to do is you're going to go to their app. It's called Goodword. They just announced, they just came out of stealth. Really excited about them. You'll download their app. They'll say connect with LinkedIn. You'll put in your LinkedIn credentials and you'll be off to the races. You'll be able to share your LinkedIn data with them, fast and easily, and get your AI bot trained up without having to do like manual exports and wondering if your connections are really over there on the other side. It'll be definitely the other person that you're connected to, not someone faking it. So I think one of the really exciting things that, why I'm excited to be here and talk to you guys is, this is a really great way for people to sort of choose their level of decentralization, right? Both builders and users. To your point, Alex, I love smart contract idea of streaming payments. I think that's the direction we're headed, but I'm also very concretely aware that my mom's never going to remember a seed phrase, right? And we need to start find a way to fill that gap. So if you can log in with your Rippling or log in with your JustWorks and start getting streaming payments directly to your bank account, that's huge, right? And then if at some point you decide, wait a second, I can get a higher yield on my stable coins versus my checking account, and I'd love to get that, that's where my payments stream instead. And someone like a Family Wallet or a Dynamic or Privy has made it easy enough that I can go do that now without having to remember seed phrases and worry about getting hacked. And we can get FDIC insurance for these things, right? Like it's sort of all this infrastructure that still needs to be played out to make it really truly like accessible to everyone in the world. I'm not a believer that like everything needs to be on chain, but I like the idea that anything could be, so that people can sort of pick and choose their level of risk, their level of what they're willing to, the hoops they're willing to jump through to either, whether it's get an extra basis point of yield or it's because your government is, has hyperinflation. There's a lot of reasons why you'd want to exit a system. Having the option is more important than getting everyone to do one specific thing. We're all too different. There's no one size all fits solution.
Well, and using the most of our resources is important too. Like you've got all these machines. If you're using local machines to like process or verify information, you're using the chain for what the chain's good for. You're using the other resources for what they're good for, and it's more efficient that way. It's scalable. I'm sorry, Will.
Hopefully.
I think I cut you off, brother.
No, I mean, it's just kind of on the same point. I mean, like, it's going back to our conversation with William Quigley. Oh God, everything in crypto feels like a year ago now. It was like 5 days ago or like a week ago. But we were having the conversation about how, like, just like with the internet boom, everyone tried to take everything and put it on the internet, which like didn't really work at the time. And just like now with like blockchain technology, everyone's like, we can put everything on the blockchain. And like, if you remember, and if you were around for the bull run in 2017, literally everything was being put on chain. I remember at one point they were like, we're going to create a crypto token that tokenizes, or we're going to have a blockchain solution that tokenizes publishing. I was like, okay. At the time I bought the token because I was like, it's a new thing. It's going to be perfect. But then there's like so many other things that like didn't necessarily make sense. And there's so many use cases that like blockchain technology is great. It is one tool, phenomenal at a few things. But like traditional Web2 infrastructure is still like a really good tool also. And it's great for so many things also. And in a lot of cases, better than the application you can do with blockchain, except for in a few different areas. So it's like, you can't put everything on one solution. There's no magic silver bullet for anything. But anyway, so I didn't really have too much more value to add to that. You guys kind of hit.
No, you're good, brother. Dawufi, tell me this. For people who are interested, maybe they're builders, maybe they're learners, maybe they're users, where's the best place to go to get connected, learn more, dive deeper down the rabbit hole?
Yeah, for sure. So opacity.network is the website. We got some blog articles up there if you're sort of a reader. Telegram groups up there as well, which I'll be honest is it's fairly large but fairly inactive, and that's sort of by design. We're taking a sort of slower approach where we're not trying to bring everyone on board all at once. We are a little bit more interested in making sure we find the right partners who are really helping people out and sort of hand holding them through these early days as the network gets started. So definitely do that. Follow us on Twitter. I just brought on a new growth lead who's going to be getting us active on TikTok, getting us active on Instagram. So we're Opacity Network there. If you want to be ready for the new stuff, it's definitely going to be happening. And message me. I'm at Dawufi everywhere. I'm on Dawufi here on TikTok. I'm at Dawufi on Twitter, on Telegram. DMs are definitely open. I will say, I think I'm D Finkelstein on LinkedIn. Unfortunately, I need to update that one. that's a leftover from my TradFi days. We didn't get through my whole
Sounds official, man.
Yeah, well, Dawufi just stands for David Wu Finkelstein. I'm fully doxxed. I just wanted to handle that. When I showed up to a social network late, no one would have it already, and like I had to deal with imposters. So, hopefully it's coming across that I'm a friendly, helpful person here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hop in my DMs. We are, growing and always looking for new people to work with. And like you said, even if you're just interested in like, what can I do with this? Like, I'm new to crypto and I want to try something that doesn't need a wallet but might be helpful to me. If you're an influencer, go try out Daisy. You can sign up. If you are an hourly wage worker and you've ever had a payday loan and you thought to yourself, this fucking sucks, like go try Earnify. Earnify is in the App Store right now. It hit #1 for the paid finance category.
Yeah, I looked up Earnify. I was on X. What do I just search Earnify on the App Store to find it?
Yeah, that's it. That's the thing. We don't make a lot of waves in like crypto Twitter because unfortunately we don't make money like pump.fun does yet. Hopefully one day we don't have meme coins, we don't have a token, so we sort of play in slightly different areas than if you're getting into crypto at large. These sort of ideas unfortunately haven't really taken the narrative yet. I think they will. I think there's a big consumer wave coming this year for anyone who's looking for new narratives to get interested in. The UX is just getting better everywhere across the board between wallets and stuff like us. So I think there's going to be a lot of interesting things happening. But at the end of the day, what's useful to you, I think I've been dancing around this, really matters to who you are. So hopefully we have something fun and interesting for you to play around with. If not, and you have an idea, let me know. We get companies funded, we get founders started. That Wow Gold one really was just off a tweet that I had. I was like, dude, everyone out here is like getting scammed for Wow Gold trades, and it's just like Discord moderators like taking custody of stuff. I was like, you can put this whole thing on DeFi rails, and there's this larger vision of like, wouldn't it really be cool to have like a Wow Gold Roblox like trading pair, and just do that directly. There's no reason not to, and with zkTLS you could do that because you could confirm the transfer for someone to buy and sell these things and just swap it off on chain. So there's cool stuff happening.
The second that we open up options for me to buy other things with my RuneScape gold, it's over for all of you.
Oh, God, you're the biggest whale.
I have so much. So much gold.
That's going to be the new bull market. When we unlock Alex's RuneScape, he's going to dump it all into Bitcoin. You just have to come on stream first and let us know what you're buying. It's only fair to get the alpha.
Liquidity's on me, guys. All right.
You're going to be the new most profitable crypto company.
I'll start calling him the Beluga.
So
Tether printing was going to bring liquidity into the markets. No.
No, it's me and my party hats. All right.
Alex shows up in a monocle.
Yeah!
comes back. He comes back as the permanent sponsor of the Rise Up show, and you guys just have to like listen to him talk about whatever he feels like for an
Whatever
hour.
he wants, yeah, all the time.
2 hours, we're gonna just look at this one magic card.
And every time Will speaks, I can just say, "Quiet, peasant," and mute him.
And I just watch my ticker of RuneScape Gold go slightly up.
Okay, if you want to
Oh,
check
man.
out Dawufi, and especially if you want to check out Opacity, thanks to Sophia for the link tree in the comments. The link tree with the Telegram, with the X, with everything there is Linktree. That's linktr.ee/opacity network. And you can find David at Dawufi, spelled like it sounds, on all platforms. Okay, let's shift gears for a minute before we ride our dogs and ponies off into the sunset. Make sure that if you've got a final thought, if you've got a question, a suggestion, an idea for what should be zero knowledgeified, or suggestions for monocles when Alex is rich, leave them in the comments. But I want to get your take before we get out of here on this Trump wallet thing. Our friend Molly White broke the news yesterday on X. Let me see if I can find it here, if it's on my screen share, that Magic Eden was going to release the official Trump wallet soon, but that this didn't necessarily have anything to do with the Trump family behind World Liberty Financial. It was, in fact, a co-op with the Trump meme coin team. And if you're thinking to yourself, hang on a second, they're different? The answer is, in fact, yes, apparently. The Trump meme coin team is known for launching Trump NFTs, the Trump token, the Melania token, and now the Trump wallet for fans of Donald Trump. Magic Eden pushed out their announcement. Eric and Don Jr. repudiated the project, saying, I run Trump, and I know nothing about this. It made me think of that meme where Spider-Man is pointing at Spider-Man and pointing at Spider-Man, you know? And I don't know.
There's just so much here, and I was listening to so Amy hosted a space last night with Vo, and for those who don't know, Vo works for Magic Eden, and was not, I would say she was not super tight-lipped about it, but really just makes it sound like Magic Eden got duped by them, and that necessarily, and I'm speculating here, we're all speculating because nobody knows. Yeah, so there's Vo right there. Eric saying that he runs something and doesn't know something could just be that. Like, it's very possible that Eric just has no fucking clue what's going on. As the kids say, the wheel is spinning, but the hamster died a long time ago. So, who's to say? But your options here are that the Trump meme coin is swindling someone again, or Magic Eden is straight up lying to everyone in a massive way. So, both possible.
Would be shocking, but not unheard of in the crypto space.
Not unheard of, but like feels like a weird way to torpedo your reputation on like a known piece of misinformation. So very strange.
I don't know if this is a base take or not, but if Eric doesn't know what's happening with Trump coin and it is legitimate, it kind of feels like decentralization to me. I don't know. Might be Trump organization might be more decentralized than your favorite chain. I love the Solana guys, but if you think that anything happens on that chain without totally stamp of approval, I think you might have another thing coming. So just saying, they might be leading the charge in a way that we didn't expect.
That was not on my bingo card, for sure.
No, but I do love that angle.
Yep.
Turns out decentralized, like they didn't know what they were stepping into when they signed that contract, and they said we're going to decentralize Trump.
I mean, the thing about all of it is that from the beginning, I mean, the Kelsier finance, hands being all over those meme launches, the max extract vibe that comes from all of this, the amount of insider trading that happened, like the methodology for setting it up. Nobody can look at that and say that this is anything other than a tactic to just make as much money as possible from new people that you haven't been able to charge stuff for before, because now you can dress up gambling as investing and sell more stuff to more people. Like it's the grift that keeps on grifting. It's the natural progression. So I don't know. It's the whole thing just screams, like Molly said, pure chaos, completely disorganized. The space that Amy was hosting yesterday was really just coming down to like, how are you still doing this with no advisors? How are you still not running, or how are you still running a project like this without a single like space literate person advising you on something? Or why are you ignoring that person if they do exist? Because this is ridiculous, and it doesn't make anyone look good. Magic Eden looks weird right now. The Trump team looks unbelievably chaotic and disorganized. It looks like either they disseminated misinformation, they changed their mind, or the leadership is completely clueless. I don't know what the other option is.
Or my first thought went, they're creating some kind of public distance from the project because there was bad PR around the Trump coin and the Melania coin. And it's Eric and Don being like, oh, we didn't do this, even though like it is. That was my personal thought. Or some type of distancing from like a legal liability standpoint in case something were to go wrong with the wallet. I don't know if it would. Like, it was made by Magic Eden. They should know what they're doing. But that was my personal take, being like, oh, we didn't do this.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is, Alex, is once we put the RuneScape gold on chain, Alex, you'll be able to afford pardons for all of us. So I'm very excited for that.
It's true. Pardons all around.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Crime is legal, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Golden visas too. Golden passports. Just
so that'll all be good. Yeah. No.
Gold, put it down to get stamped.
Hey, Dawufi, you said something a second ago that I want you to drill down on and get cranky about. That Anatoly puts his stamp on approval on everything on Solana, implying that it may not be as decentralized as they would want you to think. Is that how you really feel? And give us a spicy take there.
I pick on Solana because they're easy, just because they ship, and like they've done, let's be honest, a lot more useful stuff than decentralization maxis want to believe. But my hotter take, honestly, probably especially for a lot of fans of this show, I don't know exactly what the audience is, but people are like, oh, Ethereum's the only one that's decentralized or whatever it may be. I'm like, I promise you, like, watch Vitalik try to fork it tomorrow and then tell me it's decentralized, right? Like the entire thing would shift over in a day. So there's tech decentralization, right? There's like node decentralization, all stuff that I've heard you guys talk about before. But at the end of the day, it's any sort of single point of failure that could be an issue. And, you know, with Bitcoin, it's probably more issues on like quantum and cryptography and, you know, energy usage and how does that really scale? And, you know, if we get fusion, I think is a big one that I ask a lot of questions about. When energy's free, what does that mean for Bitcoin, where anyone can spend any amount of energy because the cost drops to effectively zero? Like, what does the security happen there? There are existential risks for all of this, right? So there's the cranky take, which I'm definitely going to give you, but there's also the very realistic take, I think, especially to new people coming into the space. Like, this is all new, this is all risky, this is a shitload of fun. I hope that you lose money exactly once, and then you is sort of my rough estimation, and then you figure out that, you know, whether it's buy and hold or whether it's just, you know, just put it in a Coinbase account and forget about getting hacked in your private wallet. Everyone has a lesson to learn. I will try to like bring it back to a little bit of positivity after my cranky take. But to everyone out there who's yelling at me that like decentralization is everything, I just need to take a hard look in the mirror.
Yeah, to be honest, talking about decentralization, how much it matters, I think that it only matters in terms of giving people an option. I want freedom of choice. I don't want to be forced into one thing or the other. That's really what kind of I imagine that most of us are here for. So, you know, the level of decentralization does not particularly matter to me. This is a spectrum. You can go full side, halfway, whatever. You know, like you said, dude, you could make the claim that Cardano has achieved a supreme level of decentralization, but watch what happens if Charles comes out bearish tomorrow. Like, it doesn't matter. So the only thing that I think matters is that you understand what you're interacting with. It's the transparency. Honestly, it's one of the first things that endeared me to Base was that when they launched, their website straight up said like, hey guys, we're super centralized. Here's a plan for some kind of decentralization eventually. Here's kind of what the roadmap to decentralization could look like. But right now, and Polkadot launched the same way. Polkadot was like, hey guys, this is all central authority, and we have the ultimate say on whatever. And maybe we'll decentralize more at some point. Maybe we won't. But for now, this is what it is. And that was delegated proof of authority, the consensus mechanism that launched for that. So it's just like, who cares? Cool. Thanks for letting me know. If I don't like that, I'm gonna go do something else. If I don't care, then I'm gonna hang out with you guys. I don't
See
care.
you later. Yeah.
That's what I've been saying for like, I think 2 years now. So I was like, decentralization 2 years ago was, guys, decentralization isn't going to matter in terms of something actually affecting like the adoption of a project. Then 2 years went by and you see more centralized projects doing really great because they offer people what they want, which is, hey, this is fast. Hey, this is cheap. Hey, there's easy things to use.
Mhm.
That's all they care about at the end of the day when it comes to adoption. But for me, it's like, as more time goes, actually, no, like 2 years ago, like proof of stake seems, I was like, oh, this is a great idea for money, but it's like not as good from a security standpoint as proof of work in my mind. Granted, if you have enough money, you could try to take over any network. However, with Bitcoin, it would be so monumentally expensive that it just wouldn't really be worth it at all. But at least with proof of work as compared to proof of stake, with proof of stake, that's where my conversation and concerns happen, where I just go, oh, all you need is enough money and then access to the network. With proof of work, you need a bunch of money, but then you need to go like buy a mining facility, mining rigs. You got to pay a bunch of, like, there are other annoying steps that add more security there. And at the same time, like with Cardano has Charles Hoskinson, Ethereum has Vitalik Buterin, Bitcoin, you got nobody. You could argue
Michael Saylor.
You could argue Michael Saylor, but like there's like the creator that isn't there. And if Michael Saylor went away, like Bitcoin would eventually be fine.
These systems are tough though, right? Because it's not just like if he dumps on the market, it's the emotional response of everyone holding Bitcoin because Michael Saylor holds Bitcoin. There's waterfall effects of these things that are like these systems are complex. And it's funny you brought up base and Polkadot because actually I have some of my hottest takes. Maybe I'll come back for a night show with an espresso martini and we can get into all the things I see wrong with the marketing, particularly in the governance on the marketing on base and the governance on Polkadot.
Marketing on base.
We've done some excoriating coverage of the base marketing tactics of late. The coin movement.
Yeah, but we haven't done it with espresso martinis, so that would honestly be an upgrade.
That's a certain elevation.
This is true.
Yeah.
Okay, it's about that time where we're going to pull our train into the station, where we're going to take our dogs and ponies and ride them off into the sunset. So if you've got a final thought, a use case for crypto, if you've got something you're just down on or up big on, let us know. And then come back tomorrow. Same time, same place. We'll have the Rise Up Morning Show again. And tonight, my friends, at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, we're going to be live with our friend Emily Herrick. She's coming back to do another episode of After Dark. And Dawufi, we got to have you, man, on After Dark, Espresso Martinis. But before we do, would you mind giving us one last final thought? Maybe something you're super stoked about or something you just can't stand anymore. Something beyond zkTLS, but the floor is yours, man.
Yeah, I'm at Tech Week right now in New York, and that's why I have like the weird hotel background behind me. And it's really been interesting to see the stark sort of contrast between like the Web 2 people who are like unequivocally brilliant, but like really good at coloring in the lines, I've been calling it, and like working with being creative within a certain like framework that like doesn't allow for new things. And then the crypto side, definitely brilliant people, but there's sort of this tendency to tear everything down, right? And I think after this conversation with you three and this discussion of choice, I really encourage people to, understand more, definitely make your choices. And if you're a builder, you're thinking about starting something anywhere or you have an idea, just think pretty deeply about like what's the best for your users, what's the most useful thing you can do, and where it makes sense to tear something down, tear the motherfucker down, and where it doesn't, use the tools that already work. I'm fully convinced that the people who are able to think through those problems with the user, your audience base at the core of what they're trying to build versus some sort of ideological, perhaps faux ideological stance. Those are going to be the people who win for themselves, but I think more importantly, sort of drive the space forward and really create useful things. So I just would love to encourage everyone to do that. And if you have any ideas, definitely come talk to me about them. I want to see cool stuff built. That's what I'm obsessed with today as I walk around New York.
Beautiful take. Thank you, brother. Alex, what about you? Final thoughts?
I think I'm relatively well met, honestly. I would say that the terms that I would pull out of this, if you want to do a little bit of a deep dive and start to understand something that is very technically complex, but also super, super interesting, and I think one of the more revolutionary parts of this entire industry, look up ZK, zero knowledge. zkTLS is like a fringe of the whole thing, but the world of zero knowledge is extremely interesting. There's a lot of crazy math in there, but this is a fun exercise to like go back and forth with the GPT research assistant kind of thing, and pull apart. So like that is the jargon term that I would highlight for today as a great one to figure out like how does any of this shit work. There was a lot of comments just about like the way that this can be used to reform healthcare and the healthcare industry, and how much information you have to share with doctors that don't necessarily need to know everything about you, but need to know something that is relevant to whatever you're talking to them about. There was a comment about, okay, using this in real estate. Like, well, what about having to chase somebody down for a security deposit or for paying for damages or something? It's like, well, the beautiful part about a smart contract is that you don't rent them the apartment until they agree to the terms of the smart contract. And if they agree to the terms of the smart contract and they damage something, a condition is met, and all of a sudden, boom, the contract can execute. And you don't have a choice to duck it. This actually fixes that, right? It does not enhance the problem, it fixes the problem. There's just a gajillion and one applications for where this stuff can actually make somebody's life better. But it's hidden right now behind some very technically complex jargon and babble. But you can start to break that down. So that's the term I would pull out today.
Beautiful. William, Mr. Flipper.
Mr. Flipper. No, I don't have anything else to really add. Just Dawufi, thanks for coming on, dude. And everybody, if you are wondering again why I'm in a dolphin costume, it's because my original account, the one that I'm on here, is banned, but then unbanned, but now it's like broken or whatever. So I have my backup account, which is dolphin_coin_guide. It's an inside joke from a long time ago from the community. That's all I'm going to say. Now I'm a dolphin. So if you could go support me there so I can be live on that account.
Guys, it's because he's rich. When Alex gets his RuneScape gold to convert to BTC, he's going to dress however he wants. Will has finally made it. He's exited the system. His care to give is gone.
Yep.
You should
who you always were
for
inside.
Halloween. Because last Halloween, I made 16 or 17 videos in the day, all wearing different outfits that I just own.
You can't be stopped.
It's simply ridiculous.
Yeah, I had to buy my girlfriend in a separate armoire for her clothes because I was like, no, these costumes don't move. they're
I'm a big fan of this.
Okay, my final thought is to say, Dawufi, are you drinking Saratoga water? And were you hip to Saratoga water before the meme?
Yeah. Pre or post Ashton Hall?
I'm pre-Ashton Hall. I'm a big water snob. It's definitely something that I think is maybe more of a late night show, but I have strong opinions on water. Saratoga is one of the better ones. I'm a big Pellegrino guy, and I'm also a big Gerolsteiner guy. He just got a little bit too much silica for me, but I'll drink it occasionally.
I love Pellegrino, but I have no pretense about it.
Guys, there's nothing wrong with Dasani. Let me tell you.
There's so much wrong with Dasani. There's so much wrong with. I went downstairs to my hotel and they had Dasani, and I was like, "Where's the closest bodega? I refuse to drink this."
Wow, I had no idea water was such a contentious topic on the Rise Up Morning Show.
No, dude, listen. There's a TV show that Zac Efron did with Darren Olean, superfood guru, expert, brilliant, genius. Has written some incredible books. Definitely recommend looking up Darren Olean, just about nutrition in general. But they had an entire episode with this guy, Martin, who's this German water sommelier.
Oh, yeah, he's on TikTok.
Yes, he is on TikTok.
He's delightful.
I've seen him. Yep.
He's wonderful, and he did a whole thing about the differences between different kinds of water and distilled versus purified versus spring, and it's fascinating. And there is the quick pro tip is don't buy distilled and purified water, buy spring water. That's really the thing. And actually, I miss every day living in. I used to live in upstate New York in Saratoga Springs, and there are natural water springs in many of the parks around Saratoga. And it's just a thing. There's always a line. People have the big 5-gallon jugs, and you go to these natural springs, and you just fill up a shitload of natural spring water straight out of the ground. And take it home. Some of it is like unbelievably mineral dense. Like it feels like drinking liquid pennies. But there's like all kinds of studies that have been done, and like what's in this stuff and what are the mineral contents and what's the part. It is a whole big thing. I'm a big water fan.
They do that in Arkansas too. Hot
Oh,
springs,
yeah.
baby.
Yeah, no, they're all over the place.
Well, this proved to be your place for helpful news, commentary, answers to your crypto questions, and now water recommendations. We're open for sponsorship,
This is a water show
Saratoga,
now.
Pellegrino, if you're watching. And we want to thank you for being the very best part of what we do. So check out all the links, all the resources at the riseupmorningshow.com. If you want Dawufi's links, Opacity's links, they'll be in the description below the YouTube recording, the podcast recordings of these episodes on your favorite platform. Get all the links at the riseupmorningshow.com. Then come back for After Dark tonight. Come back for the morning show tomorrow. Until next time, my friends, thank you for being the best part of what we do. Stay safe. Be well, everybody. Rise up.